Welcome to Fire for Effect, episode 2, part 2, with Morgan Warren. By the time you guys see this, I will be shit-faced in Europe. That being said, we had a great time with part 2. We continue our conversation all about sniper shit. Please enjoy it, and I will be back just in time to roll out part 3. So till then, have a fucking good one. Okay, so your qualified sniper, Task Force 108 is coming up. You're going out the door. Walk us through that deployment.
So like I said before, A company from the 3rd Battalion was attached to...
So you're in the 3rd Battalion at this time?
Yeah, I was in 3rd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, A company, 1 platoon. And our company was attached to the battle group as well as the officer mentor liaison teams. So one platoon got attached to Bravo company, 3 platoon was attached to Charlie company from the 2nd Battalion, and our 2 platoon was actually split up amongst the officer mentor liaison teams all across Afghanistan. So
and where are you operating?
So we were operating in Panjwai West.
Okay, so that's southwest of Kandahar City. For those of you that are on Google Maps, wondering where that is right now.
Yeah, in very close proximity to the Arghandab River. So yeah, it was a lovely place. So we land there. Our platoon does. We land at Kandahar Airfield. We do all of our acclimatization and our briefs and whatever. And just slightly off topic, but the things that you remember. Like your first day in country, and the first day we landed there, it was dark. We'd flown in from Dubai, and that evening actually there was an ID strike, and there was a young Strathcona trooper, Trooper Hayakazi, was killed. And I don't know, it's one of those things that sticks in your mind. Like why do I remember that one fact? But yeah. I do, right? And and he was from Edmonton, went to East Glen High School here in Edmonton, and it's just one of those things. Like I never met the guy in my life, didn't even know he existed before that day. So. That was here. We're in Afghanistan for 3 hours. That's the first thing that happened. From there, we were pushed out to patrol base Spurwangar to link up with the rest of Bravo Company, 2nd Battalion. And Bravo Company was actually kind of spread out along.
And at this point, you're not a sniper.
No. At this point in time, I was second in command of a section. I was in 3 sections, so call sign 1-1 Charlie. Or actually, we weren't 1-1 Charlie because we were a 4th platoon in Bravo Company, so we actually got renamed. We were given another call sign, which was 2-4. So we were call sign 2-4, so I was 2-4 Charlie, because normally the way the infantry battalions work, like you've got A company, B company, C company. Every company has 3 platoons, so you've got 1, 2, and 3 in Alpha, 4, 5, 6 in Bravo. 7, 8, 9 in Charlie. Now we were in Bravo Company, so we were the 4th platoon. So we used to joke around and we call ourselves like 6.5 platoon because we couldn't be 7 platoon because 7 platoon was in Charlie Company. So, but we were call sign 2-4.
So what's the op tempo like at this time? Like how often are you going outside the wire? On a fucking planned operation.
So
versus presence patrols and all that crap. Like where you're going on an op, you're going to get kinetic. And by that I mean they're gonna get into a fucking gunfight. Like, what's the tempo like? I know 108's hot. 6 to 9 was hot.
It was hot, yeah. So I mean, I want to say we probably only during that 7-month period, we probably only did 3 deliberate major operations.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, there's a lot of presence because we're trying to win hearts and minds. And Bravo Company was in Panjwai West, and one of the main supply routes at the time was called Route Foster's. It changed names a bunch of times. Some guys will know it as, I think it was known as Hyena for a while, or anyway. And about every 3 or 4 kilometers, they had a different combat outpost. So when we were in patrol base Spurwangar, which was where the company was, we were getting ready to move out to one of the smaller combat outposts as a platoon. We were going to move out to an area in Panjwai West called Zangabad. Because we'd been relieving the Royal 22nd Regiment. So
they closed that down on 309.
Yeah,
we were fucking rolling inward.
So
Yeah.
so
that was out there, right?
Absolutely. So essentially, what we're trying to do is kind of do like what we call like a left seat, right seat. Is like they just don't want to throw you to the lions. So they would send us out there with one of these other platoons, and we could do some patrols. Our commanders would patrol with their platoon, so they could show us kind of the lay of the land, go areas, no go areas. You know, what's friendly, where you're going to get in a gunfight. You know, what to expect in this area of operation. So like within, it seemed fairly quick. I want to say it was like within a week. We were occupying this this outpost, and actually a few of these outposts along Foster's. We had a small section house. There was not a lot out there.
Do you like camping?
Yeah, so we had these compounds that were probably only like, if they were, 100 meters by 100 meters or less.
Right.
And they were made out of like Hesco bastions. I mean, how would you describe a Hesco? Like, picture
They're
like a
big pillars filled with sand
and gravel,
and
yeah.
wire. They're actually, I think they're a fucking Canadian invention, are they not?
Yeah, picture like a giant bucket that you
They
fill.
work quite well.
Yeah.
I'll try to slide in a photo of them. Yeah, and so you're living in this Hesco bastion
Fort.
fucking little fort, 100 by 100, washing and shaving out of a fucking, not shaving, out of a wash basin. Like you're fucking out there, right?
And every day, our day to day, we patrol the local areas, and I mean, more often than not, you'd go out, you'd get into a gunfight. And it got to a point where it was almost kind of like Groundhog Day. Like, if you went like southwest of whatever outpost, you were going to get in a gunfight that day. But sometimes, for whatever reason, you'd have to go to these weird places and get in gunfights. One time in particular, in order to get mail shipped out to us, they had to bring it out to us by helicopter. And at one point in time, there wasn't enough military airlift, so the Canadian government contracted this civilian helicopter company, and they flew these old Russian like Mi-5 hips
and shit,
and they were
like
white.
in fucking. Okay, did you go to Bosnia?
No, I wasn't.
Oh
in
yeah,
Bosnia.
man, these fucking guys are flying hips and like smoking by the fuel tank, and you're like, oh, we're gonna die. Okay.
Like, what was that? Like,
no,
that,
I'm tracking.
Yeah, like one of those movies. Like, anybody seen Triple Frontier when they're trying to fly over the Andes? Like, that was an old Russian hip. So they'd have these things, and they were bright white, and they had like a blue stripe, they'd fly these things out to us to drop off
these
supplies.
These guys didn't give a fuck.
No,
man. Like they were a worry in the world.
No, not a worry. These
whatever.
they'd have like leather helmets on. They look like cosmonauts.
Yeah,
it was pretty interesting. But and whereas a military aircraft like a Black Hawk or a Griffin, it knew where we were. It would show up. I mean, thing would land hard, push everything out, gone, and it would have gunships like an Apache kind of circling above, just making sure people were behaving. But these guys would just kind of corkscrew, and you could see them coming a mile out, and then, more often than not, from wherever, somebody would shoot at them. And they'd have everything in a sling load, so picture like a rope dangling below this helicopter with a net full of our stuff.
Bag of your mail from your fucking old lady off the bottom.
Whatever.
That guy's going to get shot down.
Yeah, and as soon as they would get shot at, because they're civilians, and they don't have gunship escorts or nothing like that, they would drop this sling load, and it would fall.
And it was 5 grid squares away from where it was supposed to be.
And they'd always drop it in the worst possible places. Like the place you always get in a gunfight, that's where they drop it. And short end, they're like, you need to go recover this. And we're like, by the time we get there, like the locals would have pillaged it. There's going to be nothing left. Like, you have to go recover it. All right. So our platoon commander would be like, okay, boys, ammo, water, leave everything else behind. Let's go. And he would give a set of orders to say pretty much like, we're going to get in a gunfight. Let's try to stay alive here. And sure enough, we go down, we'd find nothing, we get in a gunfight, we come back.
So how long does this go on before you get re-rolled?
So, like I said, started as a second in command of a section. Now, prior to deployment, the sniper platoon and the unit master sniper and 2 PPC lie, he was aware of every person in the battalion that was deployed that held a sniper qualification.
So he's the UMS, which is the unit master sniper, correct?
Yes, correct.
For 2 VP.
For the second battalion, yes.
Okay, so you're with the 3rd.
I was with the 3rd.
And I get it. We have everybody and his dog fucking goes on every road.
Absolutely.
So the UMS was 2 VP. You're with the 3rd, and he knows every fucking guy that's a qualified sniper.
Absolutely.
And suddenly he has a requirement.
He has a requirement. Okay. So normally you'll have 16 snipers that will operate in 4 4-man detachments. Well, these guys, because of HLTA leave while we were there. You know,
Whatever,
we'd get 3 weeks off, so they'd be operating shorthanded. So a lot of times they'd be operating in 3-man detachments. Now you got the same amount of equipment, but now it's divided amongst 3 instead of 4. So while they were there, they're like, okay, you guys that are qualified into platoons, we're going to pull you into snipers. So, I mean, that was like a lot, like, you know, winning the lottery as far as I was concerned. I'm like, I went from being a rifleman, which was great, and my platoon was awesome, but they're like, you're going to snipers. And I'm like, Yahtzee. So I got pulled into snipers, and yeah, so, you know, we get, you know, pulled in to do whatever sniper tasks were needed. While we were there, like, we did do some, I don't want to say direct actions, but we were part of some major operations. And a lot of times, once again, it's not always that sexy a job. We deploy usually, you know, 24, 48 hours before.
So that's the question. To simplify without fucking violating OPSEC, because it still applies today. If you can generalize the role of a sniper det in an environment like Afghanistan, and what it brings to the battlefield, and what it's typically tasked to go do.
So, like you said earlier, like pulling the trigger is like less than 10% of what we do. It's, you know, intelligence gathering is our main focus. But with that, we have that ability to go kinetic if we need to. And the good thing about snipers is a commander can really minimize collateral damage with snipers.
Absolutely.
Because we're sending one round, you know, in a very specific direction. It's not like, you know, dropping a bomb from an airplane or, you know, even letting loose with a coax or anything like that. It's you know, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Discriminatory.
Absolutely. So dropping a bomb's one thing. The plane flies over, the bomb drops, bad guys, some die, some live.
And there's always a chance for civilian.
Sure, but they're gone. At the end of the day, when it's a sniper, the bad guy never knows whether that guy's gone or not. No. And so they constantly live in that fucking space.
Space. And a commander's usually willing to kind of accept that kind of risk due to the fact that the chance of collateral damage, of somebody accidentally getting killed by a sniper, it's extremely
minimal.
Low. Yeah. You know, so that's, you know, one of the upsides of snipers. So when we deploy on a major operation, what would happen is like the unit master sniper, which is usually a warrant officer, he'll go to orders. He'll receive his commander's intent, and now like I said, he's the unit master sniper. He's the subject matter expert on the employment of snipers, and he works directly for the commanding officer and the operations officer. So when he receives the orders from the commanding officer, he thinks, okay, how can I best help the commanding officer achieve his intent? What can I do? Where can I place these snipers? What can I do? So he will, you know, develop a plan, and then he'll brief, just like a company commander or any other supporting arm, you know, element commander. He'll brief the commanding officer, say, this is what snipers can do for you to help you achieve your intent, sir. And, you know, the commanding officer will either be like, yes, no, or yes, but, you know, let's tweak some timings or some insertion methods, and then off you go.
So you get sucked into snipers. Yes. You're dancing a fucking jig.
Yeah.
Not that you were discontent with what you were doing.
Oh, no, not at all.
You're happy. However, now you're doing what you fucking wanted to do.
Yeah, I'm living the dream.
So you're with the fucking cool kids.
Yeah.
How much? What balance of the tour is remaining, and what's your tempo like? And I'm not talking about trigger time. I'm just talking about doing all the other shit that snipers do. So how much of the tour are you doing sniper shit? And I don't mean pulling triggers.
I'll say probably first third of the tour, first 2 months was rifle platoon, rifle company stuff. The last, the last 3 to 4 months was sniper related stuff. So yeah, like I said, the unit master sniper received those orders, and then when he'd get his plan blessed, then he'd come back to his sniper detachments, and if he had 4 detachments, he might deploy 2, keep 2 in reserve, whatever his plan was. And a lot of times we deploy, 24 to 48 hours earlier. Snipers want to get out early, because the earlier we can get out, the more intelligence we can send back.
Absolutely.
We can develop pattern of life, things like this. We'll go in, and sometimes then we'll help develop that pattern of life. So if we've got a platoon or a company coming up, we'll cover a flank, and we'll just kind of let them know this is what's been going on. And in the event that they get contacted, or if people start shooting at them, chances are we may have already we may already have a good idea where they're getting shot at from. We can kind of zero in on that, and we can neutralize that target. And we can help our our brothers in the rifle companies.
And what do you? We're gonna appease the gun nuts that are out there, because I know they're fucking on the keyboard right now, or they will be. My assumption and guess, and you can quantify that, is that you got 338. What's a Timberwolf?
Yes.
And 50 caliber McMillan.
Absolutely.
Did you have 7.62?
We did.
So you had the full spectrum.
We had the full spectrum, and kind of like the same way I think we kind of acquired these Leopard tanks. It was kind of like an off-the-shelf, last-minute purchase in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit.
We got a lot of shit.
Sevens, fucking tanks.
Absolutely, and our 7.62 semi-automatic sniper rifles that we received were kind of received the same way.
Yeah.
And what we were given were Armalite AR-10 Tangos. So really,
that's a good fucking gun.
Yeah, so it's fabulous. A little bit temperamental, but accurate and dependable enough. So I mean, for anybody that's wondering what the hell that thing is,
met the aim.
It met the aim, yes, and it was you could suppress it, 20-round magazines. So it was like an oversized AR-15 or a C7 for everybody out there, and topped off with a 3 to 12 power Schmidt & Bender. Fabulous rifle. So that was actually my rifle. That was my personal weapon system that I carried with me.
Okay.
The guy I was spotting for, he had a 338, the Timberwolf made by Prairie Gun Works in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
It's a great gun.
Yeah, fabulous gun. And the TAC 50, that was one of those. The TAC 50, I mean, this thing is like 50, 60 pounds. It's a monster. You didn't just take this thing out for fun because it was a monster.
And by the way, Canada holds the world record for the longest fucking shot.
Yes, we do. Actually, we hold 3 of the top 5 longest shots.
No big deal.
No big deal. Yeah, number 1, number 4, number 5.
So what's your typical mission task? Is it mostly, I guess, recce, intelligence gathering?
Yeah,
or is it? I don't want to get into it. We're not going to fucking go, what's your longest shot? We're not going to go, how many guys have you killed? We're not fucking doing that here. But there's a fact that you may be sent to take out, a high value target or fucking get eyes on in the event that needs to escalate to that level, now, right? So help everybody understand what that sounds like.
I mean, once again, Hollywood does a good job of portraying what snipers do, and most of the time it's like, special forces guys, okay, here's a picture of a dude,
and you're going to go movie, loved it.
Yeah, and you're going to go shoot this dude. For us, so someone's thinking, okay, a high value target. You're thinking, Osama bin Laden, high value target. For us, it wasn't so much that. A high value target for an army sniper would be a crew served weapon or a comm suite.
Absolutely,
right. That's a high value target. So
something
it's not
that creates the conventional fucking guys on the ground a battlefield advantage by fucking neutralizing that.
Absolutely. Exactly. So if there's any crew served weapons or communication suites out there, those were things that we were looking for.
Yeah.
We try to neutralize those targets because those are things that can hurt our brothers the most. So a lot of tasks that we'd be given. I mean, we'd be given a lot of cover tasks, a lot of surveillance tasks, and sometimes a surveillance task could turn into a covering task. And it's not we were going out with the intent to to shoot everything moving, but we'd move into position, get the lay of the land, pattern of life, and then in the event that the rifle company that was doing, say, a coordinate search on a village, if they were contacted, and we were in an advantageous position where we had better eyes on everything, we'd locate where they were taking fire from, and we'd sort it out.
Now, to also fucking demystify this, the movies will have you believe that snipers show up and then in 19 seconds, there's a bad guy there and they go whack. The reality of life is they spend fucking hours, if not days, getting into a position, and then when they get there, they sit there for more hours and days and observe flies fucking each other.
Yeah, realistically, yeah, we'll get into a position, and if you're compromised, if you're seen getting into your position, can't stay there, you got to move. Or if you take a shot from that position, you don't want to stay there anymore because you could have potentially been compromised, even if you don't know it, you got to move. And when you get into a position, if you know you're going to be there for a while, you need to get into a routine. So there's 4 of you guys, if you're going to be out there for 72 hours or even 48 hours, you're not going to be awake for 48 hours. So you get into a routine. You're like, okay, here's your shift, here's my shift. and you'll develop your position. So if you need to add camouflage to your position, or if you need to build up your shooting position, you'll have like a log of everything from your like the pattern, like what the locals have been doing. If you notice anything that you think is of particular importance, that could be of particular importance to like yourself or the commander, you hop on a radio.
Right.
You know, I mean, the most powerful thing we have in our sniper den is our radio. I mean, realistically, I mean, because
that's fair.
You know, I mean, that can bring a lot of hate to bear on an objective. I mean, we could, you know, I mean, yeah, great, we've got a 50 caliber rifle or a 338, you know, caliber rifle, and that could take out one dude. But, you know, on the other end of that radio, I mean, we've got artillery call signs that can vaporize a grid square.
Fast air,
everything.
All the assets you want based on the intelligence package, the target package you've put together by fucking lying in the weeds for that long creates an unbelievable, and this is important for all you people that fucking think that it's all about putting a bullet down range. You know, the intelligence you get from a sniper det and what you can put on that target instead of a 50 caliber 338 round.
Yeah.
If you can go with fast air, artillery, whatever, it's fucking unprecedented.
It is. From an intelligence point of view, I mean, we live in a world where we got technology and we've got aircraft stacked up to the moon, and we see all these drones, and that's one thing, but a drone is not a person on the ground. When you got a man on the ground looking through glass, we are trained observers. Like on our course, that's one of our performance objectives is observation. We have to sketch objectives, we have to find things, we have to see things that other people don't see. Yeah. And we have to make sense of it, and we have to be able to, you know, communicate that to higher.
And I'm most certainly not a sniper. I did make marksman every year, though.
Attaboy.
But I am a fucking forward observer. So it's the same principle.
Yeah, exactly. Same principle.
Artillery forward observer, it's the same shit. It's not just about putting fucking steel on a target. There's more going on. Yeah, so that was fucking awesome.